The ultimate fishing experience is brought to you by Lund Boats. This week on the ultimate fishing experience. No matter if you're young or old, fish for a living or a weekend warrior, everyone loves to be on a hot bite of crappies. Majority of crappie enthusiasts take advantage of the spring bite when crappies are easily accessible in the shallows during spawn. But what's often overlooked is the fantastic fall bite, where crappies concentrate in large schools in deeper water. One thing's for sure, when the water begins to cool and the trees start to turn, you can bet your best jig and wrap you'll find longtime friends Al Lindner and Tom Neustrom out on the water taking advantage of this fall bonanza.
I don't know anybody that doesn't enjoy a good crappie bite. It truly is an amazing fish.
You know, this time of year is it's so much fun because there's so much going on. The fall is, everything is moving. The wildlife's moving, the fish are moving, and there's so many different things to do. Fall crappie fishing is one of my favorite things, and I've been doing it for many, many years. You got to find some of these mud bays that, 24 to 35 feet of water, and most of the time they're suspended, so you got to really utilize your electronics, especially, to find these fish and then sit on top and vertically jig them. But, I'm fishing today with one of my old buddies who is probably a mentor in my life of fishing, but also a friend for over 35 years, Al Lindner. We don't get to fish as often as we used to, but, this is going to be another one of those days where he and I get out on the water, enjoy some fishing and some good conversation, and that's what it's about with friends.
Hey, I didn't do bad, Tom. For a 2-hour drive from Brainerd to this ramp, I'm 3 minutes early, man.
I love it.
3 minutes early. You're proud of me, ain't you?
I love it. Our days on the water are so special, and I'm so happy you're here. Let's go catch some fish.
We've been talking about this trip since our earlier fishing trip this year when we were whacking the walleyes. You were telling me about the crappie trip. I'm ready, man. I'm glad we didn't have to go out yesterday.
Oh, no.
It would have been, the wind was so bad.
We were so planned for a day like this because this is what we needed. Not a lot of wind, a little sun. It's awesome. Let's go out and catch some fish.
Ready. I'm ready, man. Ooh, you got goodies and everything.
You bet. I'm ready. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go, right there. This is exactly what I'm looking for right there. There's the crappies right there.
I would definitely fish that school.
Now this is what I look for. And see how they're separated? That's when you know that they're good-sized crappies, and there's a school of them right here. When they're separated like that, it makes a big difference. When they're on the bottom and they're kind of meandering around, I always don't think that they're biting. They're not biting fish, they're just fish to be there. So, this is what I look for. It's called, in a lot of ways, it's called hunting crappies, and that's what you're doing. There you go.
Small one, small fish.
Not bad.
I had 4 hits when you got on there. It was lickety split. Dunk, 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 dunk. Drop it down to the bottom, lift it 5 feet, 4 feet off.
There we go.
And hold the rod, and bam, he's on.
Got to get on the fish right, Not a monster, just a fish. But like you say, you know, that jig and wrap is absolutely one of the most deadly, nice fish.
You got one a little grown up from the first ones I had. One. Oh, there's another one. I like it like this. This one's a little bit better. Not a lot better, but a little bit better. Bottom fish. Dunk. There is not a better way that I've ever seen in my life to catch deep water crappies than on this bait. Hey, you know, those of you that fish crappies in reservoirs down south, this is the best kept secret. You know, where you guys get lots of those deep crappies down there, like we get up here. You drop that jig and wrap on them, and you'll be amazed at how deadly it is. Our guys up here are just starting to learn how deadly that thing could be on crappie.
Hey, Al, I got to tell you something. Welcome back. It's great to be in the boat with you again, and we do this semi-annually, but I'll tell you what, I like it. I like it a lot.
Fun, fun, fun.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly.
You know, one of the things what I like to do is, in the fall especially, but I like to run my track, but I also like to look. And then when I'm looking and I see a good pot of fish, all I got to do is hit a mark, and I'm right there. And then I can come back over the top of those fish. But it's really important to watch your trail and then duplicate it. So if I go over the fish, now I got to come back, I can duplicate it right down the trail, right exactly where I saw those fish, and then catch them. But you know, and that's the important thing about putting a mark. Sometimes we use a marker, not to mark so much a school of fish, but use it as a positioning item. It all works together. It's all important. It's like a puzzle. And we put all those parts of the puzzle together, and that's what helps us to catch fish.
You know, for years, all over the country, north, south, east, or west, the main way of catching crappies was usually some type of live bait. And it still is a big element, no question about that. But you are seeing more and more and more crappie anglers than ever before start to adapt to soft baits, to triggering baits like the jig and wraps. In certain conditions, the artificials are definitely more productive than live bait. They both have a time and place, but that's part of the learning curve, you know, in the world of crappie fishing. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Nice one.
Got to stay away from them hooks, I'll tell you that. You got to stay away from them hooks. You should get one, Al, right here. You know.
Nice one. In fact, a real nice one. Come on, guy. Dunk.
You know, it's easy to call when you go over the top of these schools and say, Al, you're going to get one.
Yeah, and then it takes about 1 second longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and you drop it, and it's there. It's this bait. Probably a lot of you have not used this jig and wrap for crappies like we're doing. Now, Tom and I have been doing this for a number of years now. This is a heavy little bait, and it just drops like a bullet. And when you get on top of these schools of crappies, some of them are, the schools can be as tight as a quarter of the size of Tom's Lund here. You know, like the front deck that I'm sitting in here, and there might be, oh heck, there can be 50, 75 crappies sitting, maybe even more than that. They're that tight. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one, bro.
Yeah.
A little better crap?
Yeah, I think it's a crap.
That's a crap. It ain't pulling like those gills were.
No. No, it's a nice crap.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. They're nice chunkers, too. They got a nice back on them, which I really like. But boy, I tell you what, you hook them with this thing, and it's all over. Pretty fish. Boom. You know, a nice thing right now, we're catching these fish in probably 21 feet and less, and we can release every one of them. They swim away, there's no problem. Then once you get to that 25, 26 foot mark, you got to be real careful with them because a lot of times they don't make it. It's just that 4 or 5 feet makes a big difference. And then when they go beyond 30, 35, it's almost impossible to let them go. That's why so many times we go into a spot, we'll catch our fish and we leave. You know, and that's an important thing. Don't catch and release these crappies when they're in deep water, because basically all you're going to do is you're going to hurt them and they'll never come back and they'll never be there for another day to fish. Bubba, that's a nice fish there.
I know that. My Mary would love.
And you know what? I've never met a fish I didn't like.
Nope, especially when it comes to crappies.
Yep.
Come here, come here, come here. Them little hooks are so incredible. You know, on this thing, it truly is amazing. You touch anything with these hooks and it's stuck.
I had two of them stuck in me last year. I thought I was going to have to go to the doctor.
I've had that experience.
Oh, yeah.
They're chunky little suckers. No matter what the fish is that you're fishing for, boat control is absolutely one of the key things to keep in mind. And this Lund, the way the Lund is laid out, Tom's covering every situation in here. We got a bow mount trolling motor, the Altera's here. He's got a transom mount trolling motor. He's got the Minn Kota Talon in the back. Once in a while, I fished with Tom where he uses his big Mercury. Yeah, you know, he's geared for about anything, any situation that you're faced with. You know, like I said, boat control, whether you're fishing crappies, walleyes, bass, redfish, you name it, and boat control and how you rig your boat. It's critical. The tools of the trade are really, really important.
And one of the things about my Vantage that I really enjoy is I got total control back here. You know, I can sit back here, I can watch whatever they're doing, I can look at my locator, I can say, all right, drop down on the fish, here we are. And that's the most important thing for me. I love my Altera, you know, I use it all the time, but in different applications. When you sit on these deep suspended fish, you want to have complete control, and that's what the Vantage gives me. It gives me that, you know, just that motion. I can just swing my arm so easily, and I can move a few degrees left or right where I need to be. I mean, I can speed up if I have to fight the wind. I can slow down to almost nothing, where that prop is just chugging along. You know, the other thing that I've always enjoyed about Lund Boats, Al, is the tracking. I mean, the thing tracks straight. You know, even sometimes in the wind, you know, you get a lot of other models or a lot of other boats, and you know, the wind grabs it and gets you off kilter. I'll tell you what, my Pro V, when I know I'm on a break line or I'm doing something where those fish are strategically in 22 feet, I know I can stay right on them. I can use my Vantage. Sometimes when it's windy, I can use my big Merc. But the thing is, the boat tracks straight. And that's a huge deal when you're fishing, and when you're fishing for a living, it's even more important.
Of the 8 boats that are fishing around us right now, 7 of them are Lunds.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Hey, when you come up to the North Country, and I think a lot of places in the Midwest, Lund is #1. It's a perfect example.
You know, this deep water crappie bite has been something Tom and I have been doing with a bunch of buddies of ours for lots and lots of years. But not that many years ago, we were the only guys out here taking advantage of this bite. All over northern Minnesota, there was people that started to understand, hey, this can be some of the finest crappie fishing of the year. Right now, our water temperature on here is 57 degrees. And these schools of crappies here, they're going to start tightening up in a lot of spots and get tighter and tighter and tighter. In fact, let me kind of give you an idea of how this deep water crappie bite takes shape as the water temperatures change from the pre-turnover to turnover to the cooling water patterns before ice up. Yuck! In northern natural lakes, crappies often position along the deep weed lines in search of food. They can also roam the open water in large schools hunting for pelagic baitfish. But as the water starts to cool and fall, crappie begin to vacate the shallows and the deep weed line. And as the water continues to get cooler and cooler, the fish that were roaming open water slowly filter toward structure and get tighter to the bottom. This concentration is what makes fall one of the peak times for loads of crappie. Once you find them on your electronics, it can be some of the fastest action all year long.
You know, one of the interesting things about fishing fall crappies is that everybody thinks that they are minnow eaters. And when they get out on this mud basin, that's not what they, oop, there's one right there. That's not what their preferred food is. Just a little guy. But what they're really eating is they're eating a grub off the bottom, which is more like a fish, we call them fish flies. It's a little black, little black bug that comes up off the bottom, and that's what their main food is from now all the way till next spring. So, you know, are they opportunistic to hit a minnow and a jig, or a jig and rapala? Sure, thinking that that's a minnow because they want a meal. It's that time of the year. I got another one. But the thing is that's the whole thing, is understanding what these fish are eating, and it positions the fish to where I'm fishing. And I think that's the, that's the important thing to look at. So I think we're on to fish.
This is the school of all schools. This is where we want to whack them.
You know, everywhere I go, people ask me why I like Mercury. You know, Mercury has got the best performing motor that I've ever been around all my life, and I've run them all my whole career. I mean, I think, I don't know if I've had 30 or 35 Mercuries in my entire career, but it's the best motor for me. This is the L6 200, awesome motor, 4-stroke, quiet, really operates well. And you know, the thing is the power. It's rated 218 at the prop, which gives me an overall more power than a normal 200. So, you know, it gets me where I want to go. Reliable, I can back troll with this as well as most guys can with big killer motors. So again, it's the efficiency of the motor. It's absolutely essential in my business as a professional guy. And I can tell you, if it works for me, it'll always work for you.
Little one, real little one. I'm claiming the littlest one of the day. Ta-da!
I got one.
You got one too?
Yeah.
Now, I want you to see the size of mine.
No, I see it.
No, did you see how good that one was?
That's nice.
This takes skill. That one you got there, they're right, but yours doesn't take no skill. It's pulling back and everything. Anybody can catch them like that.
That's a classic. That is a classic. Anybody can catch one.
Anybody can catch them like that. You know, Tom and I go way, way, way back, and we actually got a lot of things in common. We both grew up in Chicago. We both learned a lot about fishing on the lakes between Chicago and Milwaukee. And along the adventure of life, we decided we didn't like the big cities. And we both ended up here in Minnesota. And Tom was a cop for a good portion of his career, guided in between time then and guiding now full time. I made my living mainly in the media end of the sport fishing industry, you know, magazines, television, radio shows, tournaments, of fishing shows. But we've kept contact together and fished a lot over the years for a lot of different kinds of fish. And two of our favorite fish for both of us is walleyes and it's crappies like we're doing today. That's right up at the top of the list for both of us. And this is one of those unique years where I've had an opportunity to be on Lake Winnebagosh and did a summertime walleye show with Tom up here on spinners, and we had a ball. Middle of summer is great bite of fish, and then we talked about coming up here for the fall bite. So our friendship goes way back, and it all revolves around one thing, fishing. And it's been a good one, bro.
A lot of people always say to me, you know, Al Lindner is your friend? And I said, Al's a friend, he's been a mentor in the business, but most of all, we've been loyal friends for a long time. There's never been a separation, no matter what we did, where we were, where we went. We've been best of friends for well over 30-something years, and I'll tell you, for me, you couldn't have a better friend than Al Lindner.
I got to tell you another Tom Neustrom story. Over the years, we fish all over the state of Minnesota. I mean, I've been doing television all my life from our years with In Fisherman, when my family and I owned In Fisherman. And then when we got into Lindner Media Productions and do the Angling Edge stuff now. And we fish up in Tom's area quite a bit. A lot of the lakes in the Grand Rapids area. And it seems like every time we come driving through town, and this can go back many, many years, all of a sudden I'd be in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden I'd looking back and there'd be a flashing light. And it would be Tom in the squad car. He'd pull us over, wanted a fishing report. I don't know how he knew we were there. It's incredible. I don't know how he's wired into it. If I got near his turf and we were going someplace to fish, he knew it. He would find us. I'm serious. I wouldn't even tell we were going up there, and all of a sudden we'd be getting pulled over. Where are you going? What are you fishing for? How they've been going? You should go over. You need to go over this. Like there's a hot fight going on over here. It's been great, man.
Sometimes meat is neat. And my buddy up there got one on a jigging Rap. So I think we're on to fish. And I think it's a question of, I think they're going to bite, no matter what you catch them on. So there again, you know, you catch them 2 different ways. You can probably catch them 3 different ways, or 4. But right now we changed over a little bit. I did to meat, and it's made a little bit difference for me. But the one thing that we did do is we slowed way down. We went from 0.8 and 0.6 to 0.2, sat on these fish, and they did. And I think that's the whole clue.
You know, I don't know anybody that doesn't enjoy a good crappie bite. Oh. Hardcore tournament bass fishermen, hardcore walleye fishermen, muskie guys, they all find time sometime throughout the year in spring or fall, when they hear the bite is on these crappies, they go after them. It truly is an amazing fish. Everybody loves a crappie bite, including me.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like more information, check out lundboats.com or these other online outlets.